The whole office laughed at the mute cleaner. But as the negotiations began, even the boss was astounded. Amelia was only 18 when a tragic accident changed her life forever, leaving her without a voice and with a past shrouded in mystery. At her new job, Amelia faced disdain from her colleagues and loneliness until she met Ben, an intern who saw beyond her limitations. When Amelia discovered a fraud scheme that could incriminate Ben, she decided to fight for justice, facing unexpected dangers and conspiracies. In a journey marked by challenges, courage, and surprising revelations, Amelia needed to find her own voice to save those she loved. Amelia was only 18 when her life changed forever. Living in a small town in rural California, her routine was simple but peaceful. Her parents, John and Margaret, always protected and loved her deeply. However, a mysterious accident left Amelia mute, and she never revealed what really happened that fateful day. John and Margaret were beloved figures in the small community. John, a skilled carpenter, was known for his dedication and hard work. Margaret, in turn, was a caring and patient teacher, always willing to help her students. The family's life changed drastically after the accident. Amelia's smile disappeared, and the once lively house became silent and melancholic. Before the accident, afternoons at the Jones household were full of life. Amelia and her parents would walk through the park, play with the family dog, Rusty, and prepare dinners together. John taught Amelia to carve wood, while Margaret read her bedtime stories. These memories were a refuge for Amelia, something she held in her heart as she faced the new reality of her life. Margaret, worried about her daughter's future, decided to find a job for Amelia, hoping it would help her reintegrate into society and perhaps regain some of the joy she had lost. After many frustrating attempts, an opportunity arose thanks to the compassion of Susan, the HR manager of a large office in Los Angeles. Susan was a strong and determined woman, known for her empathy and ability to see beyond appearances. When she met Amelia, she saw something special in the young woman, something most people overlooked. Susan believed Amelia could find new purpose and hope in the job. Amelia started working as a cleaner in the office, a space dominated by adults always racing against time. Her first week was challenging. The young woman worked diligently, completing all her tasks with precision. However, her inability to communicate verbally made her colleagues see her differently. At first, they ignored her, as if she were invisible. But soon, Amelia's silent presence began to draw attention, and not in a positive way. Some insensitive employees started mocking her, making cruel jokes about her muteness and concocting absurd stories about why she was silent. These attitudes deeply hurt Amelia, but she remained steadfast, determined not to let the malicious comments bring her down. With her resilient nature, Amelia tried not to let the mockery affect her. Her refuge was the meticulous cleaning she performed, finding comfort in each polished surface and every impeccably swept floor. Despite the hostile environment, there was a silent glimmer of hope in her eyes, a determination that somehow things would improve. It was during one of these long workdays that Amelia met Ben, a newly arrived intern at the office. Unlike the others, Ben did not see Amelia's muteness as a weakness. He watched her with curiosity, admiring the dedication and skill with which she did her job. Gradually, he began to approach her, trying to communicate with friendly gestures and smiles. At first, Amelia was suspicious, accustomed to the disdain of others. But Ben persisted, genuinely attempting to connect with her. He started defending her from malicious comments, standing up to the bullies and earning both respect and suspicion from many in the office. The friendship between Amelia and Ben blossomed, bringing a breath of fresh air into the young woman's life. The silent conversations between them, often conducted through notes on a notepad or messages on a cell phone, were filled with understanding and empathy. Ben made her laugh, something she hadn't experienced in a long time, and this began to melt the wall of isolation Amelia had built around herself. Thus, amidst a routine of cleaning and shared laughter, the friendship between Amelia and Ben began to evolve into something deeper. They met outside the office, exploring the city together, and Ben encouraged her to open up about her past. However, every time he touched on the topic of the accident, Amelia shut down, her eyes losing the fleeting glimmer of happiness. Even without knowing the details of Amelia's trauma, Ben was determined to support her. He knew that to help her overcome her fears, he needed to be patient. And Amelia, despite the fear of opening up again, began to trust that Ben was different, that he wouldn't abandon her. So, Amelia's life continued, a delicate balance between the shadows of her past and the light of an uncertain but promising future. She didn't know that this new phase would soon bring even greater challenges and revelations that would shake the foundations of everything she knew. The days at the office followed their usual routine, but for Amelia, each day was an internal battle. Despite Ben's constant support, the cruel jokes and disdainful looks from her colleagues still weighed on her heart. However, the young cleaner was not willing to give up. One afternoon, while cleaning the conference room, Amelia overheard fragments of a conversation between two managers. They were discussing a fraud scheme within the company, mentioning the name of an intern who would be used as a scapegoat. Her heart froze as she realized that the intern in question was Ben. Amelia knew she had to do something, but her inability to speak left her desperate. How could she help Ben if she couldn't even talk? She decided to observe more closely, collecting information that could be useful. Thus, she began to pay attention to every detail, jotting down everything in a notebook hidden in her cleaning cart. Meanwhile, Ben noticed the increasing tension in Amelia, but he couldn't get her to tell him why. He knew something was wrong, but he respected her space, hoping that when she was ready, she would tell him. The relationship between the two continued to deepen, now marked by the fear of what might happen. One evening, as Amelia was getting ready to leave, Ben approached her in the parking lot. He was clearly worried and insisted that she come to his house where they could talk privately. Reluctantly, Amelia agreed, knowing she needed to share her findings with him. In the small living room of Ben's apartment, she showed him the notebook with the notes. Ben was shocked to read about the fraud scheme and the plan to incriminate him. He thanked Amelia for her courage, promising they would find a way to expose the truth without putting their lives at risk. Amelia felt a mix of relief and fear. Relief for sharing the burden with someone she trusted, and fear of the consequences they might face. Ben decided they needed to gather more evidence before going to the police or confronting those responsible. And so, the two embarked on a secret investigation, always careful not to raise suspicion. For weeks, Amelia and Ben worked together, collecting documents and recording incriminating conversations. The tension grew each day, but Amelia's determination, fueled by Ben's unwavering support, kept her steady. Each day was a new challenge, but also a new opportunity to get closer to the truth. Then, one day, the unthinkable happened. Amelia was cleaning the office of one of the involved managers when she found an open email on his computer detailing the final plan to incriminate Ben. She quickly took photos of the screen with her phone, but as she was about to leave, the manager walked into the room. Amelia froze, her heart pounding wildly. The manager, noticing her presence and the phone in her hands, advanced menacingly. Unable to cry out for help, Amelia tried to escape but was stopped. The manager took her phone, deleted the photos, and threatened her, saying that if she told anyone, she would be fired and never find another job. Desperate, Amelia went home and told Ben what had happened. He was furious and concerned but thanked Amelia for her bravery. They decided that despite the setback, they would continue to fight for justice. Amelia knew she needed to be more careful but was more determined than ever to protect Ben and expose the truth. The twist was harsh, but it brought new strength to Amelia. She and Ben were now more united and determined, aware that every step brought them closer to the truth. Despite the difficulties, Amelia began to believe that she could really make a difference. However, the challenges were far from over. The company increased surveillance on Amelia and Ben, trying to find any reason to fire them. They had to be extremely cautious, each move calculated to avoid suspicion. The pressure was immense, but their determination was even greater. One night, while reviewing the documents they had collected, Ben noticed something that could be the final piece of the puzzle. A contract directly linking the manager and other senior members to the fraud scheme. They knew this evidence could be decisive, but they needed to act quickly and precisely. They decided to take the evidence directly to the police the next morning, but they had to ensure they were safe until then. They stayed up all night, discussing strategies and reviewing every detail of the documents. The fear of what could happen kept them alert, but the hope for justice pushed them to continue. The weeks that followed were of intense vigilance and apprehension for Amelia and Ben. They needed to be more careful than ever, aware that they were being closely watched. Amelia continued to note all her discoveries in a new notebook, which she kept well hidden, while Ben sought ways to gather concrete evidence without arousing suspicion. On a sunny afternoon, Ben and Amelia decided to meet in a cafe away from the office to discuss their next steps. Sitting in a discreet corner, Ben suggested they seek the help of a lawyer specializing in corporate crimes. Amelia nodded, feeling they were finally close to a solution. As they left the cafe, they noticed a man in a dark suit watching them from a distance. Ben quickly took Amelia by the hand and led her down an alternate route to lose him. On the way, Ben received an anonymous message on his phone. "You are being watched. Stop now or you'll regret it." Fear gripped both of them, but at the same time, a new wave of determination grew inside them. They knew they were close to something big and that giving up now was not an option. Ben proposed they take the gathered evidence to a journalist friend who could help expose the scheme without putting them directly at risk. That night, they met with the journalist, Jack, in a small bar outside the city. Jack listened attentively to Ben and Amelia's story, taking notes and promising to investigate further. He assured them that his team would do everything possible to protect their identities while gathering more evidence. In the following days, the tension in the office was palpable. Amelia felt the suspicious glances of her colleagues, but tried to remain calm. One particularly difficult afternoon, Ben surprised her with a small gesture of affection, a simple but beautiful necklace, which he said represented her strength and resilience. Amelia, with tears in her eyes, hugged him tightly, feeling comforted by his constant presence. It was during a late night of work that the second twist occurred. Amelia, alone in the office, discovered a folder hidden at the back of a file cabinet. Inside, she found documents that not only confirmed the manager's involvement in the fraud scheme but also revealed an even larger conspiracy, including other senior executives. Amelia took pictures of all the documents and quickly sent them to Ben and Jack. She knew these new proofs were crucial and could finally dismantle the entire corruption network within the company. However, at that moment, she heard footsteps approaching, and before she could hide the folder again, the door burst open. The manager, with a furious look, entered the room. Amelia, with no escape, tried to stay calm, but he realized what she was doing. He advanced on her, shouting threats and demanding to know what she had found. Amelia, unable to respond verbally, backed up against the wall, trying to protect her phone with the evidence. It was then that Ben entered, having received Amelia's message. He confronted the manager, demanding that he back off from Amelia. The situation escalated, and a physical altercation ensued. During the chaos, Amelia managed to escape the room and run downstairs, where she found safety with other employees. The police were called, and Ben, with some injuries, insisted the authorities check the documents Amelia had discovered. The arrival of the police brought a mix of relief and apprehension for Amelia and Ben, who now had to trust the justice system to deal with the conspiracy. In the following days, the police investigation advanced rapidly, and several arrests were made, including that of the manager. Jack, the journalist, published a series of articles exposing the fraud scheme, leading to a significant media repercussion. The company was forced to review its internal practices and take drastic measures to clean up its image. Amelia, despite everything, continued working at the office. Now, she was seen with respect and admiration by her colleagues, who finally understood her true strength and courage. She and Ben, more united than ever, began planning a future together, aware that they had overcome a huge obstacle and that the love between them was stronger than any adversity. Over time, the investigation revealed more details about the fraud scheme, and the company began to restructure, dismissing all involved in the conspiracy. Amelia and Ben became local heroes, praised for their courage in exposing corruption. However, the most surprising revelation was yet to come. One night, after a long day at work, Amelia felt she could finally trust Ben enough to share the secret she had kept since the accident that left her mute. They were sitting on the couch at Ben's house when she took out the notebook where she had written down her most painful memories. Amelia began to write frantically, describing the car accident that took her parents' lives and left her voiceless. She revealed that she was driving when a runaway truck collided with them, killing her parents instantly. Amelia survived, but the trauma and guilt left her unable to speak. She had never told anyone for fear of being blamed for the accident. Ben read Amelia's confession with tears in his eyes, feeling the weight of the suffering she had carried alone. He hugged her, whispering words of comfort and promising they would face the past together and build a better future. Amelia, for the first time in years, felt relieved to share her burden. Meanwhile, the company was about to enter into crucial negotiations with an important international client. Tension was high, and everyone was nervous about the possibility of failure. However, during the meeting, something unexpected happened. Amelia, who was present to ensure the conference room was spotless, noticed that one of the essential documents had been swapped for another. She quickly signaled to Ben, who was participating in the meeting, and together they managed to interrupt the presentation before it was too late. It was then that Amelia, in a moment of pure determination, miraculously regained her ability to speak. With a trembling but clear voice, she explained the situation and revealed the document swap, pointing out the responsible person, one of the manager's accomplices who had not yet been arrested. The shock filled the room, but Amelia's clarity and courage ensured the truth was heard. The negotiation resumed, and the client, impressed by the company's integrity and transparency, decided to continue with the contract. Amelia's revelation was a turning point in the meeting and her life. The company, now confident in its integrity, began to gain the trust of new clients and partners. The accomplice responsible for the document swap was arrested, and the investigations led to the arrest of other individuals involved in the scheme. Amelia, now able to speak, was celebrated for her bravery and determination. The colleagues who once ridiculed her now respected and admired her. She became an inspirational figure in the company, and her story was told in various media outlets, highlighting her journey of overcoming. Despite all the achievements, Amelia still faced the challenges of dealing with her trauma and the loss of her parents. Ben, always by her side, continued to support her unconditionally. Together, they decided to seek professional help so Amelia could finally heal her emotional wounds. During therapy sessions, Amelia began to confront her fears and process the guilt she carried. It was a painful but necessary process. She learned to forgive herself and accept that the accident was not her fault. Over time, Amelia began to feel lighter, freer to live her life fully. Meanwhile, the company was also undergoing a transformation. New leaders, committed to ethics and transparency, were appointed, and a culture of respect and mutual support began to flourish. Amelia and Ben were invited to join an ethics committee where they could help ensure that cases of corruption and injustice never happened again. One night, after a long committee meeting, Amelia and Ben walked through the park, enjoying the fresh breeze and the tranquility of the night. It was there, under the soft moonlight, that Ben knelt and, holding a small velvet box, proposed to Amelia. She, with tears of joy in her eyes, accepted. Their love, strengthened by so many adversities, was ready for a new phase. They decided the wedding would be an intimate celebration, surrounded by the friends and family who supported them throughout their journey. The day of Amelia and Ben's wedding arrived with clear skies and a sense of renewal in the air. The ceremony, held in a flower-filled garden, was a reflection of their journey, simple but deeply meaningful. Friends, family, and colleagues gathered to celebrate the couple's love and resilience. Susan, the HR manager who gave Amelia her first job opportunity, was chosen to officiate the ceremony. In her speech, she highlighted Amelia's courage and the positive impact she had on everyone around her. Susan's words brought tears to the eyes of many present, who were moved to remember the young janitor's journey. During the reception, Jack, the journalist, toasted the couple, recalling how their story inspired many to fight for justice and truth. Amelia, alongside Ben, felt finally at peace, knowing that despite all the difficulties, she had found love and purpose. The following months were of pure happiness. Amelia and Ben settled into a cozy home, and life began to take its natural course. Amelia decided to continue her studies, enrolling in a business administration course to contribute even more to the company and help others in situations similar to hers. The company, now with new leadership and culture, flourished. Amelia and Ben became mentors for new employees, sharing their experiences and helping create a fairer and more welcoming work environment. Amelia's story was told in several lectures and events, inspiring many to overcome their challenges. Finally, Amelia felt she could live fully without the shadows of the past. She and Ben, now more united than ever, continued to build a bright future, always remembering the lessons learned and the people who supported them. The love, courage, and determination of Amelia transformed her life and that of many around her. The young janitor who faced so many adversities now lived a modern fairy tale, where justice and love prevailed, leaving an indelible mark on the history of all who crossed her path. The months following the wedding were pure happiness. Amelia and Ben settled into a cozy home, and life began to take its natural course. Amelia decided to continue her studies, enrolling in a business administration course to contribute even more to the company and help others in situations similar to hers. The company, now with new leadership and culture, flourished. Amelia and Ben became mentors for new employees, sharing their experiences and helping create a fairer and more welcoming work environment. Amelia's story was told in several lectures and events, inspiring many to overcome their challenges. Finally, Amelia felt she could live fully without the shadows of the past. She and Ben, now more united than ever, continued to build a bright future, always remembering the lessons learned and the people who supported them. The love, courage, and determination of Amelia transformed her life and that of many around her. The young janitor who faced so many adversities now lived a modern fairy tale, where justice and love prevailed, leaving an indelible mark on the history of all who crossed her path.